think. So I'm going to give you guys a player, and you will decide whether you're going to trade him or have him stay on the current roster. And Lou, we're going to start with you, and we're going to start with De'Aaron Fox. We know already he turned down the max deal, partly leverage, partly more money. They're not contenders at the moment, and he can walk away after next season. Do you trade or do you stay?
This is my opinion. I think he gets traded. I think they find a trade partner where it works for both sides. Like you said, he turned down that max extension to stay there because he wants to be on a contender, and whether they're a contender or not, maybe he goes somewhere where they build. I would like to see him on a San Antonio Spurs and pair him up with a Wemby, especially with, the future of Chris Paul. You don't know where Chris Paul go from here, being at the tail end of his career. So you pair him up with another young star and De'Aaron Fox, who has a lot of good basketball to play. And maybe there's a play there where he gets traded down there, but I don't see him re-signing after all of the drama and everything that's going on now in Sacramento, and especially with them not being a contender at this current moment.
So you got Spurs. Chandler, is there another team you could see him going to?
I mean, I love him on the Spurs, but again, they're not a contender yet. But I do think that fit and that system and playing with Victor Wembanyama has got to be appealing to De'Aaron Fox, right? So, I mean, you can look at the Lakers. The Lakers kind of make sense, but also the kind of their window with this team and LeBron closing and so I don't know. If I'm the Kings, I'm doing everything I can to make this dude stay here. He is my franchise point guard. He is elite. He's 5th in the NBA in scoring. He does it all. He's electric, athletically, speed-wise. So I'm doing everything I can if I'm Vivek and I'm this ownership group to have him stay. If anything, I'm kind of looking to move Sabonis before I look to move him, which I think he is that franchise piece. But yeah, it's hard to, it's like a Jimmy Butler situation. Do you really just let this dude walk for nothing, or you kind of start looking at your options of what you can get back in return and kind of build around those other pieces that they have? So this is a tough one. I'd love to see him also on a better team and a better situation playing in the playoffs because he's that good. So San Antonio, for me, that's a building team. They're not there yet, but
well, they're guaranteed play-in, so you got that going for them.
This is a tough one. If I'm the team, I want to keep him. If I'm him, I probably want to dip.
I get it. All right, this is a big one coming up. A lot of money, a lot of things. Paul George, we all know, left the Clippers. Clearly wanted to go play with Embiid in Philly and Maxey, and maybe that would be something which obviously has not been yet. The injury situation's crazy. 3 max players, and you're in the bottom half of the Eastern Conference. All of this just seems disastrous. So Chandler, trade or stay with Paul George?
Well, I think you have to stay, right? Like where can you move him to? What can you get from? It's kind of the Brad Beal thing, right? Like at this point, what can you get back that's equal, value of a Paul George? So his numbers are down, but this big three, again, this was built on health. This is built on them being together and developing chemistry, and they have yet to do that. They're kind of in and out of the lineup. One of them are always out, but I think you have to stay with him. Obviously, he's getting older in age here, and his numbers aren't really going to blow you away here. But I think those will continue to rise with him playing playing more minutes and more opportunity. They're going to keep getting better and better. But this isn't obviously the season that they expected. This isn't the season that they hoped for. This team, like Phoenix, is built to win now, and they're obviously struggling mightily. But I don't know where you could trade him where you can get a value of a Paul George. So I think he has to stay there, at least for now and in the beginning of next season.
It doesn't. I know hindsight's 2020, but man, when you're talking about like 2 of these guys, anyways, these big long-term deals, like it's built on the idea of health. But what made you think health would be even close to a guarantee?
Well, also when you see these, like Zach LaVine, there's a reason. Like I love Zach LaVine, but the guy makes $50+ million. Like that's a big number for a team just to take on. So like it's not even necessary. It's obviously always about health, but when you start seeing these numbers these are getting, it's like, okay, do you want to be stuck with that? Like it's tough.
Well, the next one, Chandler, you're up on this one as well. Brandon Ingram, obviously a free agent next summer. Pelicans are a disaster as well. Worst record in the league. Trade or stay. Try to get something for him before it's too late, Chandler.
Adios, amigo. Like this guy, this should have already happened. Like I don't know how it hasn't happened.
You are so fluent.
The man, yeah, you like that? I'm trying to prove a point over. Yeah, this should have happened.
I can break and looked up, and that's what I heard. My bad.
Once they signed Trey to the big extension, I knew the writing was on the wall. That he's kind of their guy forward, and Brandon Ingram, it's over. So trade him 1,000%. There's another guy that I just saw that we're going to talk about next. I'm not going to spoil alert, but it should be a yard sale for this team. They're struggling. They're not healthy. They can't figure out ways to have success on the court. And this is a team beginning of last year that we actually thought, I hope there was some Willie Green coach of the year after like 15 games last year. Like they had so much hope, but this group, I feel like it's coming to an end. I would trade Brandon Ingram. I would trade Zion. I would trade CJ, and I would kind of start over with this franchise.
Are there any teams that you'd ideally see him in?
You know what? Can I put my GM hat on? Since I already traded De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs, throw him on the Spurs too. That's a great 1-2. That's a great 1-2-3 punt. They're gonna have to surround Wemby with a bunch of talent really, really fast. You don't want to continue to develop this guy 2-3 years down the line and not have as much talent as some of these other teams that are being built to compete against him. You got to put talented guys there. You already have Devin Vassell. You got a couple of other different guys. Now you can add a Brandon Ingram to that. You can add a De'Aaron Fox out of the blue. That gives you a lot of depth and a lot of different positions to get him an opportunity to win some basketball games. And the San Antonio Spurs have been known to do that.
If I'm Pat Riley, I might just send Jimmy here and then take it.
That's what I'm thinking. He's gonna do something like this. It's coming. He's not happy. We'll stay in New Orleans for this one because Zion's up next. Luke, keep your GM hat on. He's got 3 years, 126 mil left on that deal. There's obviously also a clause in there that team could enact if they wanted to. Trade or stay with Zion.
Adios, amigo.
Shut up.
Adios, amigo. I think
everyone.
I think at this point you start over, you start fresh. That their big three that they put together, it just didn't work out, and it's not going to work out. Obviously Brandon Ingram has been visibly disappointed with the way things have been going down there, and him in the front office, they've had their rifts. But Zion Williamson is another case. First of all, you can't trade him until he gets healthy. So I would like to see him get back on his feet, put some good games together, and then you put him in a position where you possibly ship him somewhere. And this is the part where I go down to Miami. Or should I just triple down on the San Antonio Spurs?
What are you doing?
Everybody go to San Antonio, right? But no, I seriously think that by February, we see Zion Williamson in a different jersey. And I think that works for both sides. Allow him the opportunity to continue his career, be healthy, get a fresh start. And I think New Orleans as well deserves it at the same time. So I think he's definitely gone by February.
The Zion one's tricky because isn't everyone out there weary? Like we're all watching the same story.
But depending 100%. On what you give up, it's a lot of teams that'll take a crack at him as well.
Fair enough.
It's a risk, it's for sure. But also, you have a chance to get a Zion in one of these other markets. You might take a real look at it.
Yeah, the food sitch in San Antonio, it might not be good for him either. Kevin Durant. It's big. This is obviously a big one. Second full year with the Suns, but we all know the injury situation's out of control there as well. They gave up a lot for him. He's got a year left, and it's a big number that year that's left. Ooh, trade or stay, Lou?
You stay. Kevin Durant has been Kevin Durant. The only thing that has stopped him from being the one of the more dominant players in this league is his health. And even those injuries have been little knickknacks here and there. He hadn't had anything really serious since he's been in the Phoenix Suns uniform. But, he's older, but you don't trade Kevin Durant. And the owner has already said it. I have no intentions, and I absolutely will not trade Kevin Durant. Matt Ishbia is a former basketball player. He knows what Kevin Durant brings to the table. He knows what he brings to the organization and to the fan base. For those reasons, I don't think he gets traded. I think he stays. I think they make adjustments around him and Devin Booker, and they go from there.
Okay. Chandler, LaMelo Ball is up next. He's only 23. He's got a big contract left, 4 more years left on this thing, 169 mil. The numbers are great. The team is not. He's injured sometimes. But the fact that he's only 23, are you trading or are you staying?
I think you take a look at it, but I mean, this dude he's good. Like he's really, really good. So like you have to get a lot to get off him. 23 years old, so young, his whole career ahead of him. Guy's averaging 30 points a game as a 23-year-old. I don't care that they're not winning. He is a generation, like he is a huge talent. Now, when you send a package and you could probably interest me a little bit by who you can get. If I can get 2 or 3, starting type players for this guy, then yeah, I take a look at it. And I think this franchise, they've struggled big time with free agency. They've struggled with the draft. So you do now at least have a franchise piece. Now the decision is going to be made. Is he the guy to have to build around? I don't know if he's that guy yet, but he's also so young, and the numbers he's putting up are fantastic. I'm probably staying with him though at this point. I'm going to give it some more time, and I try and build around a guy like LaMelo Ball.
That's a lot of time left on that deal.